Hello, I'm Joost Ouendag. I joined Viking back in 2002, that's 18 years ago now, and ever since I have worked in Carina Hagen's product team to define how to explore the world in comfort. We started with river cruising, and today I'm going to talk about that type of cruising where we developed a lot of things that eventually became hallmarks of the way that Viking presents the world to you. Setting the standards for river cruising really started in the top right corner of this map of Europe. It was between Moscow and St. Petersburg on the Russian waterways where Viking first started. And rapidly the rivers of Central Europe, the Danube, the Rhine, the Moselle, the Main followed, and eventually we added France, Portugal, Spain, and Eastern Europe. And also what has been a long part of our river cruise portfolio, if you will, has been the Ukraine, the Dnieper, and we're still one of the very few river cruise companies that has ever even tried in Ukraine. And at this point, we're the only river cruise company on the American market that offers Ukraine. A phenomenal country, a great country, despite what you sometimes hear in the news. It's a very worthwhile place to visit. We've added over the years Nile River cruising and cruising in Southeast Asia before we then embarked on our next adventure in ocean cruising. Let me take you back to the conception of the idea of Viking cruises and some of the, if you will, the cornerstones of the Viking philosophy. And probably more important than anything else was the realization that we should not try to be everything to everyone. We have always had a laser-like focus on the English-speaking market, couples that are prepared and are willing and able to keep learning, that have intellectual curiosity, that are interested in history, in culture, in geography, and that also want a degree of comfort as they travel. We still very much live and breathe our motto of exploring the world in comfort. And both of these aspects of the experience are very, very important. Focusing on the destination is very, very important. Charging a fair price and making sure that this covers the majority of the experience, rather than create something that has a very low entry threshold, if you will, and then reveals a lot of hidden charges. We decided from the get-go that that was not a good way of treating our guests. We were sure that they would not appreciate this. Our efficiency and our desire to get the best staff in the industry all boils down to the details, the details, the details. Being an efficient operator allows us to pass savings on to our guests to make sure that we offer a value-packed product. And having the best staff in the industry was actually an absolute no-brainer. The fact of the matter is that so much of what we do has to do with human interaction, and we just knew that we needed the best people that we could possibly find and make sure that these people stay with us. And my own career with Viking, 18 years, is probably just a good example among very, very many that we try to make sure that the people that are part of the Viking family stay in our family for as long as we can. Destination focused, culturally enriching, carefully curated. Those are the three approaches that we take when we cruise, when we put together an itinerary. Where do we take people? Because again, and especially on river cruising, the ship is really not the destination. The ship is just an incredibly comfortable way to bring you to the destination. We're culturally enriching, and this basically means that every aspect of the journey is considered. Where can we add a little bit of local culture, a little bit of local flair? Where do we maybe need to explain a little bit about the countries that people travel through so that they understand it better? Because the more you understand, the more you see. And finally, curation is, of course, what we do to make sure that we move from one highlight to another. We try not to have places that are just thrown in because we wanted to have the cruise have a certain length, or we're also not great on assuming that all that we need to do is show people the great cathedral in town and maybe the city hall. We really spend a lot of time figuring out what are the best possible experiences people can have in any port that we bring them to. And again, I go back to knowing who we create our product for. Our chairman likes to say that we're not a drinking person's cruise, we're a thinking person's cruise. We believe that learning is not a dirty word, that we bring people on the ships that are interested, that are curious, and that want to understand. And that is something that we carry on through what we serve on the table, what we serve in the glass, the local guides we have. We want you to prepare as much as you like and as much as you have time for, with filmographies, with cultural videos that show you a little bit of what is going to be ahead of you. We give you a reading list. If you were inclined to read a few books, you can go on the Viking website and find these books there to get started. And the activities on board are usually, sometimes they're just really entertainment, but quite often they're meant to underscore, to illuminate, to elaborate on the experience that you've had that day on shore. We try to make it all fit very well together. And because we understand our audience and because we understand what it is that you're looking for, we bring you together on our ship with people that are of like mind. And we believe that that's all we really need to do for people to create lifelong friendships on our cruises, because you already understand that you're there with a similar purpose as the people that are 3 staterooms down from in the hallway. You know that you're all there with that same mindset, and that is incredibly useful and helpful to bring people together. We spend an awful lot of time trying to figure out what the best possible small ship should look like, and our long ships are the result of that. We spend a lot of time redesigning a normal ship. We have created a number of cabin categories that is unparalleled on the rivers. And again, this is based on the philosophy that for each tier, we should have a distinct product offering. If you're really just focused on the destination and your comfort is really something that is of lesser importance, we have staterooms that are standard, that have all the amenities that you would want and that have all the comforts that you need and nothing else. And if you want to splurge a little bit, that's an opportunity, that's a possibility too. But it required a somewhat different approach to how we built the ship, and we'll get to that in a little bit. An important aspect of what we do on board is the fact that we own and operate the ships. And this is not something that is a given. There are quite a few cruise lines that do this differently, that have a philosophy where bits and pieces of the experience are farmed out. And we have said from a very early point on that everyone that you meet on the ship is a Viking. This is how we think of ourselves as people that bring this product to you, and it creates a dynamic that is very different. Every person on the ship is interested in making sure that your experience is the very best it could possibly be. The dining is destination focused. The dining is also, and that's a very important aspect of the way we operate on the ships. We try to bring you under the stars or under the blue sky as much as we can, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner. The aquavit terrace that has given our ship its very iconic shape, the bow of our ship, this very iconic shape. The aquavit terrace is where we try to serve as much food as we possibly can, because this is where we believe people want to spend their time. The sun decks, obviously, but the aquavit terrace is a perfect venue to see the scenery and at the same time enjoy a meal, enjoy a glass of wine, enjoy a cappuccino in the morning. The people on our ships I've used the word Viking family already, but the people on the ships are really what makes the experience. And we want the people to feel like they're part of our family. We want people to stay with us for as long as they like. We have 90% of our crew that returns year after year. And being a fairly sizable company by now, we are also able to offer people a variety of different things to do. We have crew that move from river ships to ocean ships and vice versa. We take great pride in bringing people up from the entry level all the way to general manager of a ship. And in fact, we have quite a few people that work in our operational headquarters in Switzerland that have started out as waiters. And that has always been the philosophy, that the best people we can possibly get are not necessarily the butlers with white gloves and an incredible pedigree in training, but those are the people that have been with us for a long time, that are very proud to work for Viking, and that have this laser-like focus on our guests' well-being. The enrichment is something that we will come to talk about a little bit more. What is always important to us has been to make sure that what we do on the ship supports what we do on shore. We have an awful lot of experiences that we include. There are a handful of experiences that can be purchased to personalize your cruise a little bit. And the hallmark of what we do is what we like to call the Viking way. And this is a perfect point to introduce a little video where Karina, who has been instrumental in creating this as a concept and then breathing life into it, explains what the Viking way of exploring the world really is.
At Viking, we offer our guests the iconic and the expected, of course. But we also appreciate that we're all different. While I might be interested in more of a local life experience, a visit to a farmer's market in France, or a home visit along the Volga River in Russia, others might be more interested in understanding how a local economy works. So they might be interested in a factory visit. Or on a smaller scale, a visit with a Portuguese baker. My record! So local life and working worlds are experiences that we include for our guests. And then we have privileged access. And that really is privileged. We open doors to places that otherwise aren't open. We share some of our friends' homes and palaces and castles around the world that they otherwise wouldn't share with just anybody. We open museums before and after closing hours, and we provide our guests with experiences that are not buyable. These owners appreciate that the Viking guest is different. The Viking guest is traveling to learn. The Viking guest is traveling to connect. Hosts in various destinations actually really enjoy sharing their worlds with our guests because it's a mutually rewarding experience. And what I enjoy very much is seeing that it's not just our guests with big smiles on their faces, it's also our hosts. Everybody leaves pleased, and that's hugely rewarding. The Viking way. Local life, working world, and privileged access. It's a commitment to make sure that we do everything we can to give our guests real experiences and privileged experiences beyond their expectations. That's what sets us apart from many other cruise lines. That's the Viking way.
So that's the concept of the Viking way, and I would like to take a moment to take you through another few examples on our river cruises. Let me take, for instance, the local life in a brauhaus in Cologne. You see those beer glasses in that second image. Those are small beer glasses in Germany. Those are considered very small because Germans like to drink their beer from very large glasses normally. Not so much in Cologne, where Kölsch beer is what everyone drinks in these brauhouses. And you get to rub elbows with Germans as we take you on a tour of some of these brauhouses to really immerse you into how people in this particular city enjoy their food and their drink. In that very same city, fast forward to the image that you see to your far right, is Cologne Cathedral. That is a cathedral that is on the UNESCO World Heritage List, and it sees millions of visitors every year that go through the grand doors and that marvel at everything that there is to see inside. And then there are a handful of visitors, and Viking is the only organized travel company that has access to this. There is a handful of people that gets to see the roof of Cologne Cathedral, that gets to have this very unique perspective where you walk in and out of the cathedral and you get a true look behind the scenes. It's by far one of my favorite things to do, because it brings you very up close and personal with the Gothic architecture. You can stare a gargoyle in the face, and it's just an experience that is unlike anything else that you could imagine. Right next door to Cologne Cathedral, in that image, you see the Vienna Boys Choir. We have an exclusive agreement with that organization to bring people behind the scenes and interact with some of the members of possibly the most famous boy choir in the world. If you have some time, you should go to vrc.com and look at our videos, because we have a lot of Viking Way videos online that really drive home what it is that we're trying to deliver to you day in, day out on our ships. There's a lot of human interaction. There's a lot of looking behind the scenes. There's a lot of learning by doing. Highly recommend that you spend some time there, and I imagine that you would be investing your time wisely doing so. Just a handful of these videos. The Viking concept of inclusive value is another very important hallmark of the experience. We have always been extremely reluctant to try to nickel and dime our guests. We've always said that the ticket price should include as much as we possibly can without overwhelming our guests. On a river cruise, you will normally have at least an afternoon off so that you can do as you please, that you can go into town on your own, but we will also offer you a way to expand our offer by booking optional excursions. That's in case you say, okay, well, I don't want to be on my own this afternoon. I would want Viking to offer me something else to see and something else to do. And again, this allows you to make your program as packed or as uncluttered as you wish. And we find that our guests respond to this very, very well, in the sense that they enjoy the freedom to shape their experience with us in a significant way. There are a lot of little things that come with the inclusive value, and we have always found that it's really quite often the little things that count. The programming on TV is important to people if they spend some time in their stateroom. The hotels that we use on the extensions pre or post cruise, the free Wi-Fi on board so that you can remain connected with the folks back home. All of these things have been carefully thought about, and generally we have found that the best way to do this is to package it all. We understand what everyone wants. We also understand where individual choice is really important, and that's how we have arrived at this offer. And I would like to share a video with you that also explains this quite well.
With the world's newest and best fleet of river cruise ships, with more awards than any other river cruise line, and choice in every aspect of your journey, Viking is a remarkable value. It's no wonder nearly 1 million people have sailed with us on magical, enlightening journeys along the world's waterways. With Viking, your cruise fare covers everything you need. Accommodations, meals, wine, beer and soft drinks with lunch and dinner, port charges, onboard Wi-Fi, lectures, activities and shore excursions. You can even reserve everything at once. Your cruise, pre- or post-cruise hotel packages plus airfare for the easiest travel arrangements at a great value. With Viking, once you pay in full, our price guarantee locks you in. So you needn't worry about fluctuating currency rates or added fuel costs, a great way to save money. We also have our Cancel for Any Reason travel protection plan, the most comprehensive coverage available. which protects 100% of your travel investment. Convenience and value are important, and we're committed to providing both. Viking offers all-inclusive air travel that is competitively priced and includes all airport transfers, air surcharges and taxes. We know nothing is more valuable than your time, whether your cruise takes you to Europe, Russia, China or Southeast Asia. We have exciting ways to extend your stay and see even more. Spend a few extra days in such world-class cities as Prague, Helsinki, Berlin or Hong Kong, to name just a few. For all of Viking's Explore More packages, you'll stay in hotels selected for their great locations and high levels of guest satisfaction. And you'll have the services of a dedicated Viking concierge to make the most of your time. Viking offers special savings when you pay via e-check. It's a quick and convenient way to pay for your trip and as secure as using a credit card. Ask for details at the time of booking. Once you sail with Viking, you're automatically enrolled in the Viking Explorer Society, a community of experienced travelers who like to further expand their worldview through river and ocean cruising. Travelers like you. You'll also be entitled to exclusive benefits, including travel credits on your next Viking journey, special invitations, and more. And now Viking travel is even more rewarding. Recommend Viking to a friend, family member, neighbour or colleague, and you can both reap the rewards. Experience the Viking difference. You'll enjoy an incomparable value and memories to last a lifetime. Viking Cruises, exploring the world in comfort.
The way we have adhered to the Viking philosophy and the approach to be as inclusive as we can, to allow a degree of freedom to our guests, a way for them to create their own experience, if you will. The incredible emphasis on details and on service has made us the most award-winning cruise line in the world. This slide shows you where we were this year in the Condé Nast Travelers 2020 Reader's Choice Awards that we have now won a number of years with an average grade of 97.37 out of 100, which is a score that we're of course incredibly proud of. And sometimes it's really worth comparing ourselves to the competitive field. We do that on a fairly regular basis. And in this particular setting, or in this particular context, when we talk about inclusivity, I think it is important to highlight a few of these things, such as not having any hidden fees. I've mentioned this before. We don't like the nickeling and diming. That means we don't have port charges that are paid extra. We make sure that the airfare that we give you is the best we possibly can. We believe that air travel these days is not what you look forward to. It's not the most exciting part of your journey. We want to help you make it as comfortable as we can and as efficient and as value-packed as we can. We own a lot of the docks, and this gets into a little bit of wonky territory, but the fact that we own our own docks means that we will have prime docking locations in many places. We never have to worry about being relegated to places that are less favorable. The heated bathroom floors, little things that always count. And it may even sound a little silly, but we do get quite a few comments on those little details that do make the experience. The fact that our ships are identical means that people feel right at home. The moment they walk onto a long ship, they recognize, even if the ship is not the exact same ship, they recognize the layout, they know their way around very quickly. And we found that that's reassuring, and we found that our guests respond to that very, very well. And if we want to get even a little bit more wonkish, if you indulge me for a moment, and we'll run through this relatively quickly as a demonstration of how much time we spend obsessing over these little details. Thorstein Hagen, our chairman himself, got very, very engaged in the design of the long ships, and the squarish bow has really become an icon of the Viking experience. When Thorstein set out to figure out how he could make the best use of space on board, and spend evenings and afternoons and mornings, and I'm sure nights, designing the optimal use of the space. This is how we came up with the aquavit terrace on the bow of the ship. The best part of the ship, the best location of the ship, is where we place guests, where many of our esteemed competitors basically have space that cannot be used. And much better than I can put it in words, I want to show you a little video now that explains how the Longships came about, what their most important features are, and why they're as comfortable as our guests tell us they are.
The innovative Viking Longships offer state-of-the-art engineering and an open, inviting ambiance. The spacious aquavit terrace combines the comfort of a lounge with the invigorating fresh air of a terrace area. Its floor-to-ceiling windows move aside and you become one with the outdoors. When it's time to dine, enjoy our elegant restaurant, complete with panoramic windows. Stay in touch with family and friends with our complimentary on-board internet service. And relax on the sun deck with 360-degree views. Our staterooms offer many firsts, including airy 2-room suites with full verandas. And sumptuous explorer suites, the largest suites on the rivers of Europe. Join us on the Viking Longships as we change the course of river cruising again.
I would now like to take you on a tour of the public spaces of the ship, and I will just show you some images. And one of the things that these images all have in common, it's a Scandinavian design throughout the ship, but another thing that you will find on almost all of them is that the outside is somewhere in the image, and it's never very far away, and that is by design. Floor to ceiling windows wherever we can have them, wherever we're allowed to have those in the design. In some cases, of course, you need a wall or two, but wherever we can, we have glass, so that we bring the outside world into the experience. And you always know, wherever you are on the ship, you always know that you're traveling. You always have the landscape right there in front of you, right there in your stateroom. Even at the reception, you can look outside as you check in. You can look outside as you pick up your key. If you settle a bill, the world is always just, a sliding door away, if you will. This is the atrium that extends from the floor that you enter in on to the top. Again, a very light and airy space. The restaurant offers dining with the environment that you travel through tableside, in essence. The same thing is true for the lounge and the aquavit terrace, of course, where you move from an open door space to a semi-enclosed space into the lounge. And the aquavit lounge itself is the in-between space. Again, makes that connection to the outside world very, very real. The great thing about the lounge is that you can sit there even if the weather is maybe a little too chilly to your taste. And of course, there's no better way to get up in the morning than to have the sun rise over a river. You will see, and this is, again, it's one of those little details. All these chairs come with a little blanket. Mornings on the river, because of the water, tend to be a little chillier maybe than you're used to from your own backyard. So while the sun's out and while there aren't very many clouds in the sky, you may still find the need to use that blanket for even if it's just for the early hours. The library on the ship is stocked with books from a bookstore in London, Haywood Hill, and it's a phenomenal little story about how this bookstore is so good at creating libraries of books that are about the destination. And I can explain this to you, but we have a wonderful, delightful little video that does a much better job in walking you through, in introducing you to this very special relationship and the great value we attach to having a really good library on every one of our vessels.
It's been said, experiences are food for the mind, but it is books that nourish the soul, inspiring the spirit and delighting the imagination.
For me, there's nothing more refreshing than opening a book for the first time. It sends you to places you'd never expected, really allows you to deepen your understanding of the world.
There is perhaps nothing more powerful than a good book. So when it came time to create libraries for Viking, we sought the expertise of London's Haywood Hill, one of the most influential booksellers in the world.
Haywood Hill is a small independent bookshop in London, and it was established in 1936 by a man called George Haywood Hill. He was a very passionate bookseller, and he really put the shop on the map.
Haywood Hill holds the distinction of being a royal warrant holder, which recognises those who provide goods and services to Her Majesty the Queen, His Royal Highness the Duke of Edinburgh, and His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales. It is Haywood Hill's long-standing reputation for intriguing, insightful book selections that appealed to Viking.
We create libraries for people. They're usually for individuals, and it's usually around some passion in their lives.
So before a single book was chosen, hundreds of hours were spent on board to better understand the unique, inquisitive character of the Viking guests.
They are an incredibly eclectic, interesting group of people. Our customers are the same. That group of people who travel the world, they have a very broad outlook, and they are curious, inquisitive, people who wanted to discover the countries, but also to be stimulated intellectually, wanting to explore in a meaningful way. This is exactly the sort of people who come into our shop all the time.
Our ships often have subject-specific libraries, like legendary explorers or art history. And of course, there's a robust collection of books tailored to the regions you're sailing through.
In other areas, they're devoted to the sort of things that you want to read when you're on vacation. Novels, novellas, short stories, diaries, and then lots of visually interesting books, art books, photography, things that we think will enhance people's stay on the ship.
Every Viking vessel sails with an extraordinarily diverse collection of books, each one hand-selected to pique the curiosity of our guests.
The whole ethos of our business is personalisation, but to make a good selection of books for somewhere like a ship, you need to have the person at the top really appreciating what the purpose of books really is.
It's part of our commitment to share the world in a way no one else can.
It's wonderful to think of our books that we've chosen, individually chosen, on board Viking vessels, sailing all over the world and giving pleasure to people all over the world as they travel and explore the world. That really gives us all a bit of a thrill, and we hope that the books we've chosen for them will really enhance their stay on board.
At Viking, we recognise that sometimes a tiny thing, like the right book, can change everything about a destination.
This exactly fits with our passion for introducing people to great books.
From the library, we have a look at the sun deck. This is one of our French ships, and you can see the Cathedral of Mont-la-Jolie in the left-hand corner of the image. The sun deck has a rather unusual feature in the herb garden, where yes, this is a place where the chef will come and get his oregano or his sage or his thyme for dishes that you enjoy in the evenings, and maybe even a sprig of thyme for your omelette at breakfast time. And now we're talking a little bit about our staterooms. Details, comfort, space, and light. Those are the vital ingredients of the stateroom experience. And that starts at the first category of our staterooms, the little details, the stateroom amenities, the bottled water that you can see here on the very far right in the picture, the beds that are so comfortable that we routinely get people asking us, who makes your mattresses? True story, we do get requests quite often about the where to buy these mattresses. The French balcony stateroom, which has floor-to-ceiling windows that bring the outside world in. The veranda stateroom, where the outside world is in your stateroom, but you can also go outside and enjoy the world floating by from the comfort of your little balcony. There's the veranda suite, which has more space indoors, but also the balcony for outdoor viewing and for outdoor enjoyment. It has a somewhat larger bathroom with the same amenities that you have in every stateroom, that are made for comfort, that are made with great attention to detail. The Explorer Suite has a sitting room and a balcony that wraps around the suite, a bathroom with a little bit of extra space. And we have then taken a lot of these features on the river cruise ships that we have in Europe and in Egypt and in Southeast Asia. And of course, everywhere we've taken these different elements that make these ships so great and adjusted whatever we had to adjust to the particular region. And our newest adjustment, if you will, our newest ship that is purpose-built with all of these great features for its particular locale is the Viking Mississippi, a ship that travels on the Mississippi River. And the best introduction to that is a video that I want to share, and then we'll talk about it a little bit.
It's been said the Mississippi is the trunk of the American tree, with branches reaching to the Rockies, the Alleghenies, and Canada. Along its beguiling shores, the hand of man and the power of nature have combined to create an unending series of profound landscapes. Legendary towns and thriving cities cling to the banks of this 2,300-mile waterway, each with its own history and mesmerizing stories to tell. Exploring these lands by river offers an unparalleled look into the fabric of America, a gateway to insight and discoveries. This is Viking's Mississippi. These are voyages for the thinking person, those who long to learn and to understand more about the places they're sailing through. 4 remarkable itineraries, 8 to 15 days, each one delving into the cultures and treasures along this intriguing river. This is the Viking Way, destination-focused, enriching experiences. Designed for curious travelers. On the upper Mississippi, Viking shares America's heartland, sampling a taste of local life on her farms and amid the vibrant cities that flourish along these shores. With Viking's privileged access, we step inside the working world of industrial titans. Then set off for the wilderness, where vast, verdant forests are topped only by the opportunity for up-close encounters with the majestic bald eagle. Norwegian culture is also on display, along with the music that flourished along these waters. A look into the life of author Mark Twain reveals the inspirations for his characters, Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer. And the work of renowned architect Frank Lloyd Wright is examined in his former home, Taliesin, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. On the lower Mississippi, Viking sails through the heart of the South and its mesmerizing, incredibly diverse cultures, exploring the unique ways of life that fostered the creation of much of America's most iconic music. From inspirational gospel to Graceland and the king of rock, Elvis. And then there are the bayous, mythical, marshy backwaters, where French, Spanish, and Caribbean immigrants carved out a life. This unusual mix of cultures and environment led to something extraordinary: Cajun and Creole cuisine. While these tasty dishes are proudly served throughout the region, no city can match New Orleans. Its delectable flavors and interpretations. Beyond the Big Easy, scrumptious cuisine is found up and down the Mississippi. And Viking shares the spots where the locals go. Beyond canopies of towering oak, history is explored at opulent estates. The dreams of wealthy sugar barons made real in the 19th century. With Viking's privileged access, an in-depth look at the remarkable rise and crashing fall of these lavish properties provides a thoughtful perspective on the lives of all those who lived and worked here. Vicksburg National Military Park offers vivid insights into the enormous sacrifices that were made as both sides strove to shape the destiny of the nation during the Civil War. While the National World War II Museum delivers a powerful reminder of the effort required to defeat the Nazis, and a better understanding of those who paid the ultimate price during the struggles of war. Viking's fascinating exploration of the Mississippi can be enhanced with optional extensions, including a one-night city stay or a two-night escorted stay with daily guided excursions. And there are 2- and 3-night premium immersions. Thoughtful, guided, comprehensive experiences that reveal even more about life along the river. Our ship for these remarkable adventures is the elegant, purpose-built Viking Mississippi. Inside, just 386 guests will find panoramic views at every turn, and welcoming, serene Scandinavian interiors throughout. Plus, they'll experience all the comfort and elegance of our award-winning ocean and river fleets, including many of the beloved existing spaces so unique to Viking. An exploration of the mighty Mississippi with Viking is a journey that really shouldn't be missed. With 8- and 15-day voyages, comprehensive, authentic programs on board and on shore, and Viking's privileged access, there's never been a more immersive way to experience the heart of America.
Viking Mississippi will enjoy its maiden voyage in 2022. So the ship is still a little ways away from receiving its first guests. What I can share with you is an idea of what the ship will look like. And as you can see in this slide, it doesn't quite look like our river ships, but it has a lot of the same features as you will find either on our river ships, on our ocean ships. You could almost say that we picked really the best of both worlds and brought it to a ship that is custom made for the Mississippi. And then in another episode on Viking.TV, you can find my colleague Michael Hennis, who will walk you through the America's Great River itinerary. That is an itinerary that spans the navigable length of the Mississippi River between New Orleans in Louisiana and St. Paul in Minnesota and everything in between. It's a very exciting product. It's new territory for us, but certainly by the time we will see our first guests, we will have spent a lot of time perfecting the product and making sure that people experience the Mississippi the way they would experience the Danube or the Seine or any other port or any other cruise in the world for that matter. So I'm sharing some slides that give you an idea of what the ship will be like. This is what the reception of the ship will look like. In the restaurant, we have adapted the dining experience from our ocean ship. It's the main restaurant on board, and it offers a very wide variety of different dishes. always with a bit of a regional twist, of course. The living room on this ship is, of course, an adaptation of our living room on the ocean vessels. It is just as comfortable. It is just as much a series of smaller rooms that provide you with a degree of privacy and a degree of serenity. You know, they're quiet spaces. They're spaces for reading a book, for having a conversation, for having perhaps a talk with a lecturer that is on board. And then, of course, as we have on all of our ships, we devote a lot of space to the outdoor and to outdoor dining. The aquavit terrace that was introduced on the river ships and then taken on board also in the most literal sense on the ocean ships, we have it on the Mississippi as well to provide dining al fresco, breakfast, lunch, and dinner in a casual setting, not far from where the pool is located, to enjoy, you know, the great outdoors. The River Cafe is an adaptation of the World Cafe on the ocean ship, which offers a wide variety of food. It's a casual space. It allows you to make your own choices. It allows you to spend a lot of time or a little time as you please. And all of these spaces obviously are open for 3 meals a day. And that's what these images show you. There's a different flavor, a different mood for every time of the day. The Explorer's Lounge was an enormous success on our ocean cruise vessels, and we've decided to keep it on the Mississippi vessel as well. So a multi-story glass wall that allows you to take in the outside world as the ship moves along the river. Obviously, these are the best seats in the house. And this is what the Explorer's Lounge will look like in the evenings. And then at the stern of the ship, you have a pool that is also a little bit of an adaptation of the pool that we have on the ocean vessels, an infinity pool that allows you to take a dip and enjoy the scenery at the very same time. The bow outside of the Explorer's Lounge has, again, outdoor space to relax, to have a cup of coffee, to have a glass of wine, to have a conversation, and to spend time under the wide open skies of the American Midwest. The stateroom models take all the best features of ocean and river ships and bring them together. And as you travel on the Mississippi, you will recognize that the comforts of these staterooms are those that you've also enjoyed on ocean ships, on river ships. It's the inobtrusive, understated elegance that allows you to feel very much at home in your stateroom. This is a French balcony stateroom that brings the outdoors in. This is the veranda and the Lux Veranda stateroom. Penthouse veranda, obviously these rooms are somewhat larger and they come with a few more amenities. Again, we've always felt it was important to offer a good spread of different categories as people have different preferences and different priorities. This is the Penthouse Junior Suite, the Terrace Suite, and the Explorer Suite, which obviously has some of the most space. And again, here you can see in the corner right-hand side, Haywood Hill presents the books for our ship here as well. They provide the expertise that we need in order to make sure that this detail, again, fits the purpose of the ship and fits your experience. Which brings me to the various different river cruises that you can experience with us. And I'm not going to highlight all of them. We will have a short video to conclude this presentation that gives you a kaleidoscopic overview of a lot of different destinations. It's hard to keep track of what is where exactly. Again, I would recommend that you spend some time on our website. The easiest way to do that is vrc.com, but you can also type in vikingcruises.com to get a complete list of all the itineraries that we have on offer. You will find our traditional itineraries, the ones that we've had now for over 20 years, the Rhine Getaway, the Grand European, the Russian Waterways. You can find our Egypt itinerary, the Pharaohs and Pyramids, on the best ship that you can find on the Nile. You can have our very unique cruise, Kiev, the Black Sea, and Bucharest, the only cruise ship on the market that goes to Ukraine, and you can find the new Mississippi cruises that you will have to wait for a little bit, but they're bookable already. Okay, that concludes today's presentation. Thank you for watching. I hope it was useful. I hope you learned maybe something. I hope you enjoyed yourself. And I would like to leave you with one final short video that is a kaleidoscope of everything that you could experience on a Viking cruise. Again, thank you for watching and see you next time.